Welcome to the quick take after Fulham's 3-1 victory over Bournemouth here on the Fulhamish YouTube channel. Sammy here with Dan. Hello.
Hello, Sammy. How are we doing?
Good, thank you. A nice 3-1 victory. Let's little cheers to that. We're here at the Craft Beer Company as ever. Thank you to them for putting us up. And lovely to be here celebrating a win. A bit of a weird win, Dan. We felt like we were under pressure for large sections of that game, and I was still pretty convinced at 2-0 that we might still throw it away, but once we went to 3-1, we managed to see it through. We'll get into how it happened in a second, but just, oh my God, we needed that today.
We really did. And I saw you before the game, and I felt a bit flat coming to this, and I said it to you. It just feels like there's just not a huge amount to get excited by, and it's tough when you get into that space where we don't technically need a win, but I think as a fan base and as a team, we did need it really. And so there was just a lot of pressure on it, and I felt like there was a bit of an anxious tension in the crowd as well. Like it was a bit flat, but not because people were disinterested. I think people were just had been through a lot in the past month and a half where we've just seen games go against us, we've seen us not play well, and there was big relief when that first goal went in, and I think that was so important, scoring early. Important, and it's nice because after every game we've lost or drawn in the past month, we've been like, we're okay, aren't we? We're still going to be okay, but now we are fine, and we can stop talking about it.
In the hope that I get on Brian's gun, we needed one to go in off our backside. It wasn't quite off a backside, but it was a big old Bournemouth mistake. After 6 minutes, I'd take it however it came, and it was lovely.
It was lovely. I think that must be the worst goal we've scored this season. In terms of we did nothing to deserve scoring that goal. We played some nice football to get there, and Tim Ream, I think for a couple of goals he was pivotal in terms of he stepped up, he won the ball, he got ahead of Solanke, who he had his number all day today. Tim
Man of the match, yeah, Dominic Solanke.
To give him his full title, Dominic Solanke, man of the match. But I thought Tim Ream was really good. He stepped up, he won the ball, and he got us up the field, and it fizzled out, and then that slip is just... And it seems like the slip happened and all of the Bournemouth players stopped, apart from Bobby, who he nipped in. He was the only player in the box who was alive to it, and it's a good finish. It's a very Bobby Reid finish. He loves those sort of fired low across the face of goal into the far corner, and it set us up really well. It was, and we needed one of those goals. We needed just a silly goal to go in our favour that was potentially a goal that you would expect us to concede. The most Fulham goal to concede ever would be one of our centre-backs dealing with an attack and then falling on their arse. So, it was great, and it was a nice surprise.
Yeah. Top scorer, Bobby Reid.
You've got to give him credit, and I'm not entirely sure how well Bobby played again today. It felt like all of our good attacking went down the left flank. I thought, again, Robinson and Willian pairing up with Kearney in that midfield role, acting as that third person in the triangle. It worked really well, and Jack Collins mentioned it on the Thursday club that Adam Smith is probably the player that we could target in this Bournemouth side at right back, and I think we did, and it worked really well. And then it felt like nothing really progressed down the right, but also Bournemouth looked really dangerous down their left and our right. I thought Castagna struggled against Sinistera for a lot of the game, and we just looked like we were to be got at there, and chances were coming from down that flank. So, but yeah, top scorer. He's been in this team now for 4 years. We've had so many players come in and out. I think he does deserve a lot of credit for just sticking through all of that. I think he's one of those players that most summers everyone goes, I think we need to upgrade on Bobby Reid, and we don't, or we try to, and he just sticks out. He's such a useful player to have in the squad, and likeable as well. I really like Bobby.
Yeah. Let's devote the rest of this quick take to Rodrigo Muniz. 2 goals. Not quite this time last week. This time 8 days ago, he had no Premier League goals. Somehow now he has 3. I think that the second goal he scored today was really well taken. It was a good cross. The first one, I think, is actually the more impressive goal because he makes something out of nothing. It's poor defending / goalkeeping from Bournemouth. They should be doing a lot better, but I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about Rodrigo Muniz, and I'm just so happy for him.
I'm proud. Are you proud? Yeah. I feel like he's my kid.
I feel like I raised him on the streets of Sao Paulo.
Just like we were there, we've been there, Derby at home when he couldn't hit, he couldn't score, and he had about 15 chances, and we drew that game 0-0. And then we were there at Stoke away when he turned into the player we saw today. And I was just so.
I was there for his first steps. I was there the first time he kicked a ball. And now he's scoring in the Premier League. It's all on us.
It's us. We deserve this, and he deserves it. No, but I am really weirdly proud of him, and it's just so nice for both goals. Like the longest celebrations you will ever see, because he gets like a hug off every single one of his teammates, because everyone wants him to do well. And yeah, I agree with you. The first one is good centre forward instinct. Like it's a good header across the face from Bobby Reed, but it's the fact that Rodrigo senses there might be something there and gambles. And I think probably 9 times out of 10 there isn't a chance there. I think the keeper gets there or the centre back gets across, but he gambled on it being that one time that it might not happen. And to get his toe on it, he did really well. And I actually really like the movement for the second goal as well, and also the timing. We'll speak about it, but the fact that we went to 2-1 and we started to get, it was easy to feel a bit tetchy then, and he just peels off and makes this lovely run to the back post. It's a great ball in, again by Willian, pretty similar to the second goal, and he puts it away beautifully. It's just like, and he looked like that was his job, it looked like his bread and butter. It didn't look like a man who was surprised that he'd scored at that point. He looked like he knew exactly where to be, he knew the ball was going to be there, and he knew he'd put it away, and makes me really happy.
Yeah, 3 Premier League goals for Rodrigo Muniz. If you'd have told me this time last year, I think we might have maybe just beaten Brighton and we'd have been 6th in the league. Alexander Mitrovic is our king, and you'd have said, right, we'd have had Raul Jimenez, he's now injured, and Rodrigo Muniz is a Premier League goal scorer. I'd have been like,
we're bottom of the league.
Are you okay? But here we are. What a world that we're living in. When Bournemouth made it 2-1, I was fully convinced we were losing 3-2.
Yes, I agree. It wasn't a great start to the second half. I thought Bournemouth came out with just more oomph in that second half. I think they were really flat in the first half, and I thought we managed the game really well. And I don't know, this might just be because it happened today, but I do feel like we are just prone to starting either half slowly. And if we've had a really good first half, it feels so us to come out slow in the second half when it really matters. Because if we'd have come out at the same intensity and put that 3-0, I think we cruised the rest of that game. But it was a scrappy goal. I haven't seen it back. There were some appeals. Bertnello was unhappy. But it feels like teams have maybe worked out how to target Fulham at set pieces, because they seem to swamp Bertnello, which means he can't come out and claim. And then, I don't know, we just seem incapable of getting the ball away in those situations, but we reacted really well. 2 minutes later to just go on and make it 3-1, at that point I felt really comfortable. And it's when you look back, it doesn't feel like there was actually, there was still 40 minutes left of that game. But when we went 3-1 up, I was like, this is ours now. Yeah. It was just the perfect response, and so it was a relief. But I do worry about us being in these situations where we're comfortable in games and suddenly we make it really awkward.
Well, I think also, last week would have been in the players' minds, right? We blew a 2-0 lead, and I don't think we are this kind of team that blows leads, and I think that's a bit of a false narrative about Fulham. I think we generally hold on to leads pretty well. But I think last week would have been just so fresh in their mind, and they thought, not again, this is a really good team, you can't afford to give them a sniff. So just getting that third goal at that time, 2 minutes later, if you're a Bournemouth fan in the away end, there must have been a lot of things that wound you up today, but just conceding so quickly must have just been seriously, lads. But from our point of view, so welcome. There was, as you said, it was a long time after that goal. It felt like Fulham huffed and puffed a little bit, and we made a lot of substitutions. A lot of them very fun. Do you want to guide us through the range of substitutions we saw out there today? I saw a lesser spotted Adama Traore. They are hard to find.
They're really hard to find. Villa Park feels like a long time ago when we last saw him. That's how rare the sightings are. I do think my favourite though was the debut for Anthony Robinson at left centre back in a back five. I didn't have that on my bingo card. Yeah. That was fun, and a left-hand flank of left centre-back Robinson, left wing-back Fode Balotore, and left winger Adama Traore must be the quickest trio in the Premier League history. That is absurd that we didn't use it once either, by the way. Not once did we ever look to use their pace in that when they came on.
It's a decent Olympic relay team there.
Who are we adding as the fourth?
Who you have? Armando Broja.
He's
moves.
sharp. He is sharp. To be fair, him coming on again. It was interesting. I'm very keen to just see him. So I want to see what he can bring, and he does seem to have that. And we've spoken about it since he signed and before he signed. But his ability to make that run in behind, he made it 3 or 4 times, sort of into those channels. We haven't had anyone do that in a very long time because we've been so regimented to a unit centre forward who is there to hold the ball up. It's nice to have someone who can do the difference. I mean, last time presumably Everton away for Dan James is the last time we had a mobile centre forward. So I think that's interesting to see what that brings. But it also brings up this interesting discussion of, does he get in this team?
Well, I mean, you can't drop Rodrigo Muniz surely for the Villa game. Only, you can't. Someone that scored 2 goals in the Premier League, that would be a crazy move from Marco Silva. But Armando Broja, we need to play him unless we want to pay for him. So, we're in a bit of a sticky spot. I imagine Armando will get his chance at some point. Which feels unfortunate for Rodrigo that the bar is going to be that high for him, that you're going to have to keep scoring in every game probably in order to keep your place in this team. But it's tough for Muniz, but it's probably good for us as supporters. Before we finish, bigger picture, we're now 10 points above the drop. Been a bit of a weird day result-wise in the Premier League. I feel like this is the kind of win that doesn't obviously seal your place in the league. If we lost every game between now and May, I think we would still go down on this amount of points. But, we're nearly at 30 now, and I think it gives us some breathing room going into 4, 5, maybe even 6, arguably, tough matches in a row.
Yeah, and I think it's not just the points as well, it's actually the number of teams in that gap that the difference between Everton and us. No one's now looking at us as we could finish above them and stay safe. Forest and Luton and Everton and Palace and Brentford maybe as well, but I think we just now we've cemented our spot above that pack, I think, which is so important, and it is a tough run of games. But I don't know, it's funny how it changes off the back of one good result where we didn't even play amazingly, but you start to look forward and you're like, well, okay, we know Villa are very good at home. Away from home they're not the best, and their form has flitted around a little bit recently. They're not looking quite as good as they were. They got done by Chelsea in the Cup and the fans were very unhappy. And then you look at United away, everyone's got a chance at Old Trafford this season. So I think whilst it's a tough run of games, I think there is hope that now that we've finally got a win under our belt in 2024, that there's a chance that we can pick up a few scalps here and there. And we're not looking at 0 points from the next 6 games, which I think if you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago, I might have said was possible.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is that we don't need to win every one of these games now. We don't even need to win more than 50% of them. I think if you just get 1 win in the next 4, I think that just keeps us nicely there. I'd love us to actually put a little bit of a run together. Why can't we go on a bit of a run and push for the top 10? But I'm being realistic at the same time. We don't need to do that. It would be a nice to have.
Yeah, and I think that's, we've cemented ourselves now. It would be a nice to have, and it would be nice to finish the season on a high, because again, if you talk about carrying momentum into the following season, it does happen, and I think it makes us a more attractive prospect if you're going out with hopefully the money that we should have in the bank to sign some players, and you're saying we finished 11th, we finished 10th, adding you, we could finish 8th or 7th. It's different to going to someone when you finish 15th and saying you could push us up to 12th.
Yeah.
It's not as an attractive an offer, but I think ultimately now it's just a case of get through the rest of the season, see if we can get sort of bleed some players through into this squad. It seems like Timothy Castagna's here for the long term and Kenny Tete isn't, so it feels like he's the player that's going to sit there. You're starting to look at, can Adama Traore come in and start to make an impact and justify staying next season? So Armando Broja, can he prove himself as a goal scorer that makes him an option for us in the summer? So it could be fun, I think, to just try and enjoy the rest of the season. We've had a bit of a grim few months, and it would be nice to just stop about not needing to win, and when we do win, it's a fun one, like away at Old Trafford, where you're like, great, this season's a bit more fun now.
So you might have heard us joking earlier about Dom Solanke getting man of the match on the Premier League app. Before we finish, who should have got man of the match?
I don't think he was the best player on the pitch, but Rodrigo Muniz scoring 2 goals if you go by the perceived wisdom that scoring goals deserves man of the match, then it's him. But I thought Polini was great. I thought he snapped in brilliantly so many times today. But also Tom Cairney, and he only played 60 minutes, but on the ball today, he was just so good. Like, he was so good, and his ability to drift around and find space and combine with Robinson and Willian, I think he made everything tick. But I can't take it away from Roddy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for him, Sammy.
3 goals and a man of the match. Well, Dan Cook's unofficial man of the match. It means the most.
Official. It's my official man of the match. It's an unofficial man of the match in general.
Thank you for watching today. Hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you thought of the game in the comments, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do that. We'll be back after Villa. Come on, you Whites.